Everyone. This is Future of Work 24 Hours Live. We're in our last circle of our 24-hour event. And I'm talking to Irene from Kenya. Hello.
Hi, Apu. Well, I just thought that I would talk about table banking, which is a concept that has been around for a while, but gaining a lot of popularity in Kenya. And it is about, the name actually speaks for itself. So table banking is about coming together with people that you trust and agree on a certain amount that you'll be putting together at the beginning of the circle. The circle is usually about either 6 months or a year. Some people go even for a shorter while, but the longer, the better. So you decide we are going to have, say, $100, which is for Kenyan shillings, it's 10,000 shillings. And you put it at the beginning. So at the beginning, everybody contributes 10,000 shillings and it's on the table. But at the end of the day, that money does not stay on the table. It has to be borrowed. And you have to agree, is it at 5% or 10%, right? So we are 5 of us, we have contributed $50, right? So that money needs to be borrowed either by 2 people, 3 people, or it's distributed again equally. But when you return it, when you come back to meet the following month or the following week, it has to come back with 10%. If you can't raise the 10%, or if you can't raise the full amount, you need to pay the 10%. So the interest has always to be paid. And then you can carry on. You're always given 3 months to pay the principal that you've borrowed. So it goes on and it keeps on growing, because if everybody puts in 10% of $10, $100, then it becomes a lot of money, right? So every month or every week, depending on the circle, or depending on how often you meet, it keeps on growing, but no money is ever left on the table. Some people will borrow, you're allowed to borrow up to 3 times of your initial money. So you can borrow up to $300 because your initial money was $100. So when you refund, you are going to refund 10% of the $300. And someone else will also borrow $20, $200. Another person will borrow $150, depending on their need that they have. So it will come a time when you'll have so much money on the table, because of course your money has been growing over time, that what is on the table is more than what is requested by the members to borrow. So we come to something that we call forced borrowing, where everybody, whatever remains on the table is shared equally among all the members who do not have a loan at that time. So it's kind of a very interesting concept. I don't know if you have understood it.
Yes, I do understand. So how many people are in this collective who are doing this banking normally?
Depends on how many you want. There are some groups that have a lot of members, up to 50, up to 100. The one that I'm in is 30 ladies. Ladies, you had. we discussed about involving men, but we were like, let's see how it goes first before we involve the other gender. So it's actually inclusive, but because of the trust that you need. Because assume in the second month, you borrow 3 times of your money and you disappear with it, then we've lost a lot of money. So it's out of trust. There's also another thing that we call guaranteeing. So when I bring you in, I will guarantee you, but you cannot guarantee me, because then we can collude and run away with the money. So what we do is we guarantee each other, but 2 people cannot guarantee each other, so that when there's a problem, someone can bail you out, or you can have someone to back you up in repaying the money that you've borrowed, if it's beyond what you've contributed so far. So that's how It was.
So
Yeah.
you mentioned that this has been around a while. So how long
Yeah.
have people in your community been doing this?
From I don't know, but I think it's from probably even earlier than 2000, because earlier than that, it wasn't called table banking. What we used to do, we used to call it chama. Chama is a collective of ladies who come together and you contribute money. And then you either share to two people, or you share the collected money with two people, and then next month you come together, you collect a certain amount of money and share it with two people or three people, depending on what you want. So that one we used to call chama, but before it used to be called merry-go-round. It's a long story.
Yeah. It's
So
I
yeah, so
really
that
enjoy the
yeah,
community supporting community
yeah,
and trying to put care for itself.
yeah,
Of course, with anything, as you said, it has a potential to
yeah.
be corrupted, but it doesn't mean that you don't do it just because there could be bad seeds, and that you could have a really strong community who wants to support one another. It could benefit, the greater whole.
I
Yeah.
think the reason why we do it, and we sometimes ignore the fact that we could have a few people who will not take it to the end, is because when we start the round, we trust that you are well off, you are doing something that will bring in income that will be able will enable you to borrow, do something with it, and return the money. But sometimes not everybody is that lucky, and sometimes people get into debt, sometimes people get into bad investment. Sometimes people get sick, and so they have to leave the group, and you can't blame them really. You can't say, oh, because you are broke now, we shouldn't have put you in the group. No, because you never know what happens in people's lives. And that's why I think the trust is based on the fact that I know you and you know me, and we are going to do this together because it's for our benefit. At the end of the day, this is our money. So the money keeps on growing, and at the end of the cycle, which is either the 6 month or the year, you share whatever is there equally. So it doesn't matter if I borrowed the money every month and you only borrow twice, we'll still get the same share.
So is this just an experiment that people are playing in your community or all over Kenya?
No, it's all over Kenya. It's all over Kenya, not only in my community. And it's something that is being done. Actually, it started from ladies who are not employed, who are just doing their work, or who are selling their vegetables from the markets and stuff like that. So it started from there, and then it grew. But I think it's a concept that started from India. So I'm told it's something that started from India. And then by the time people understand the concept, it takes a while. So because when you explain to some people, they don't understand. So I'm not borrowing money. No, if I'm borrowing money and my friend is not, why should we share the same share at the end? They don't realize that it's a communal thing. It's a joint thing, that you might be needy at this time. You might need to borrow more money than I do. But the fact that I put in my money enables you to borrow the money to do your work. And that's how we come together as a community. So that's the beauty of it.
Irene, let's talk about outcomes. Like, what are some of the value adds that people have gotten from it, community members in your community, or in your collective or other collectives that who are doing this? What are some of the things that has this enabled people to do?
It has enabled people grow their businesses. No, we start from starting a business even, because I come in, some people will even say, I borrowed this money from a friend of mine, and they know that at the end of the day, that money will have grown. I will give back the amount, and I'll remain with the money that we made out of this. But in the meantime, I'm actually starting a business, and I'm growing my business with this money. The other thing was people even build houses They use it to buy their building material. Uh, Home ownership in Kenya is a big deal. So people will, try to borrow this money and keep on building, go buy the building materials or pay the builders or pay the workers who are building the houses. Some other people will just buy it, like for me, because I'm a consultant, I might need, because I started voiceover. So I might need a few more gadgets for my laptop, or a better laptop for that matter. So I will go and buy that, because if I do this work by the next month, I'll have gotten paid. So I'll give back the money together with the interest that I've borrowed. So there are so many things that have happened. The other thing is, you are not alone, because every month you meet either online, the one that I'm in, we meet on Zoom, but there are others who meet face to face. So you always have someone to talk to, really.
Yeah.
No matter what happens, someone will be like, hi, how are you? And how are you doing? And in the process, you'll have that feeling that you're not alone in whatever it is. And also, you will also hear a story or find someone that you kind of are close to, and you'll be like, share a struggle you're going through or a challenge that you're going through, and that kind of thing. So it's not only about the money, it's also about
Yeah.
that, you meeting other
So
people.
what are some other ways that people support one another? Are you finding that you all support each other's businesses or different things like that? What are some of the ways that you found that
I
you
think
support one another?
I think for me, because of having a challenge, I was sharing earlier about, I was in a lot of debt, and I share my story openly now that I can share it without feeling or. I like sharing that, because some people will find a way of getting themselves out of debt, because sometimes we take so long to get out of situations that keep us in debt. And so someone like me will share their story about how they got out of debt in that circle. And people will be like, so that's what you did, so I can do that. They don't necessarily have to move, like I moved from Nairobi to a different city or a different town. They don't, but they'll change a few things that they've been doing in their lifestyles, actually, to just get out of debt.
That's really
Yes,
important, because a
yeah,
lot of times when people say like, oh, like, how'd you
yeah,
start your business? Oh, I worked hard.
yeah,
They give generalities, and it
yeah,
sounds like this group of women, they're giving the details
yeah.
and stepping people through on how they actually did stuff instead of
Mhm.
being general and
Yeah,
having them start from
yeah,
scratch.
yeah.
That feels that
Other
feels
times,
awesome to have a
other
community like
times,
that.
yeah. Other times, you might be people, especially the ones who meet face to face, you might people talking about gender-based violence, and how, because then, of course, some spouses get jealous when we start getting an income, and they might not want you to continue with this kind of meeting other women, or even saving together with other women, and that creates a lot of friction among some partners. So
Mm.
if you find other people are struggling, and tell them how to to avoid such situations, and how to deal with your spouses, and how to include them in the decision making processes, then it also helps on the other side, because if you don't have mental health, then you cannot be, if you are not mentally okay, then your financial wellness would also not be okay, because
Yeah.
whatever we do mentally also affects what we do everywhere else, so that also
An-
helps a lot. Yeah.
Another important conversation, like we're talking about the future of work.
Yes.
Um, for full day,
Mhm.
and understanding that work looks different for
Yeah.
people in different
Mm,
countries,
mm,
and gender roles are different for people in different countries, and you just expressed that,
yeah.
in Kenya, like looking at gender roles and how and navigating those situations. And that's one of the things that we can't speak in absolutes as we talk about it. There's a it's a complex dynamic system, and that's one of the things you're articulating is how can they have freedom, which we talk about in open space a lot through mobility, like that financial freedom, then also looking at other freedom and how they're being at home is interesting.
I I also think that um, the what we call the chama, the merry-go-round, the table banking, um, gets people to understand that no matter what kind of work you do, and no matter the amount of income you make, you can actually grow your money. You have a space where you can grow your money. You have a space where people will trust you even if you have very little money, where you come together and do things together. I do know that there are some ladies who come together, and instead of sharing the money, they bank it. And at the end of the year, they go and buy land. And eventually, everybody in that group gets a piece of land.
Mm,
So instead of when we contribute at the end of the month, giving you the money, we say, no, no, no. Instead of giving you the money, even if you're struggling, we can give you a little bit, but the rest we are going to bank. So we can give you half of what we are going to contribute to you. We are going to give to bank the rest. At the end of the year, we are going to look for a piece of land that we can all buy collectively, and everybody will get a piece of it. And we can subdivide it so that if you want to build your home, you can. If you want to sell your piece, you can. If you want to give it to your children, you can do that. So there are so many dynamics that happen in the process of this get together and these financial things that we're doing in the table banking, in the chama, in the merry-go-rounds in Kenya.
Some of the things I take from this is that my sisters in Kenya are very strong and wise women. They discovered a way, despite some odds against them, for financial freedom, to have property, to have a career, and how to navigate that despite it all. Despite maybe potential for some of them, potential abuses that they may face, that they still went ahead and pursued their dreams, and that and they had a support system to help do so. That's pretty powerful.
I think also, I think probably, I do not know where chama started from or the merry-go-round started, because when I got into it, it was already going on. Well, not as popularly as today, but I think it was also kind of a way of getting away from all the madness in your, because there's a lot of things that go on at home. There's a lot of work to be done. There's a lot of taking caregiving that goes on. But this one day, because most of the chamas or merry-go-rounds happen, the face-to-face ones happen either on a Saturday or Sunday, and and you go to each other's home. So if you came to my home last Sunday, last month, we all come to your home. And what happens is you cook for us, you make us tea and all that, and we sit and enjoy and discuss a lot. And I think that's a way of the people who feel like they are overworked or they are doing too much in their home to actually get out and just have an afternoon of sitting back, being waited on, and just relaxing and having a laugh with other ladies that might be there. But also
your community.
Yeah.
So for people who are listening and they want to find out more, where do they go? How can they find you?
I think, well, I am a consultant. You can send me an email at imaweu@gmail.com. But if you Google me, I think because I do a few things everywhere. I'm sure you might be able to find my email address somewhere. But I'm also on Facebook. So you can find me. I'm also on Twitter. So it's possible to have a conversation around it. I'll also be giving a talk in what we call Global Conscious Peacemakers in June about the table banking and the possibilities that are there in table banking and what we call the merry-go-rounds or the chamas that we have in Kenya.
Mm.
The table banking that we do. Yeah. Mm.
Well, Irene, what's your Twitter handle for our
Oh,
listeners?
it's uh, at Wavinya 66. Wavinya is WAVINYA 66. So that's my Twitter handle. Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah. But I
well,
think if you type people's names, actually, it comes up nowadays. It's not like before. So if you type Irene Maweu, you'll find me in Twitter. Yeah. That's good.
awesome.
Yeah.
Any last words before we finish up this conversation?
So I think the world of work needs to consider all these opportunities that are out there. It's not only the banking institutions that can hold your money. If you think through as a community, as a collective, you can actually keep your money together. Of course, there has to be a lot of trust, but if you come together and you have a common goal, you can use these ways of putting money together and making it work for you. It's not only keeping the money in the bank that will always do things for you. So think about it.
Do you think
Thank you.
do you think table banking is possible in other countries
Yes.
outside of the continent of Africa?
Yes, it is possible. Remember, I told you that before we used to do table banking face to face. There are some of us who still do table banking face to face, but currently we do our table banking on Zoom. We have a time we meet. We choose a treasurer and that secretary. Well, not secretary, someone who puts the monies together and tabulates it so that you understand how we have table banking. And then we come and meet. So we actually meet for less than an hour, and we are 30 of us. So we have a roll call, who is there, who is not there. Of course, there are consequences if you don't show up or you come late. We don't joke about that. So, so you need to be present. So we are very serious. So we meet in the morning on a Saturday, and so how much have you contributed? How much have you paid back? Are you defaulting? If you are, you say so, and you are calculated how much you're going to pay the next time or how much you owe, and we adjourn. So anyone can actually, as far as you understand the concept, anyone in the world can do table banking. And I think you can even do table banking with people from different countries if you agree on which currency you're going to table bank with. I think it is possible.
I believe so. I am so excited to have you here.
Yeah.
And everyone, we're in our last circle, and please like, follow, subscribe on whether we're on Twitter, LinkedIn, Facebook, YouTube. We thank you for listening and talk to you later.
Okay. Bye.